Rising podcast. Appreciate everyone joining us here. It is Tuesday. We're here. It's gonna be a great freaking show. Of course, it's your boy Max Simpson here in the studio. We are, of course, presented by our friends at Circle K. Have these delicious. What is it? My right hand, right behind me. This lovely smorgasbord of Circle K snacks. You can find them at a Circle K near you, of course, along with 79-cent Polar Pops and all the great stuff going on. So check them out at Circle K. We love them. We love you guys. It's going to be a great pod today because, again, Rising, they got the victory on Saturday. We are feeling good. Everyone in the chat. We got Reese in the chat. We got Tyler in the chat. Albert in the chat. Albert, don't kill the vibes, man. Yeah, what could go wrong? What could go wrong? Indeed, nothing. Yes, and yes, according to Reese, we got the $3 hot dogs. Let's go. But yes, we have Reese, Stat Lackey Reese. Also, a little promotion for Reese. He's been doing good work. He's also going to be Stat Lackey Reese, add PHNX Rising ambassador to it. What does that mean? We're going to find out, as in we're still making it up as we go, but add it to the resume, young lad. Of course, we got Damon Dog behind the Mac. We're feeling darn good. Guys, we got a game to talk about, right? We have this match. Reese, you got to remind me, what was your prediction going into this match against Orange County from last week? It was 1-1. I also had 1-1. I think a lot of people, right, it was some sort of a draw. Probably a couple losses in there if we're kind of referencing the chat last week. But dude, they got the job done. And this is in classic Rising fashion, which is what we've been seeing at a lot of points this season. They start out kind of hot, or end up getting the first goal, and they actually spread it out around the entire half this time, right? Usually we've seen this maybe concentrated to like the first 10, 20 minutes. Rising does well, and then they kind of falter off. They were pretty in control for most of this first half. And then, of course, it's a slow start in the second half, give up the goal, and it's just buckle up from there. But my word, just when all was seemingly lost, or at least very, very dire for this club, they ended up getting all 3 points. I'm down a man. That was crazy. I mean, listen, you know, we talk about scenes, right? Like, gentlemen, everyone in this room, right? We all support different clubs. We all, of course, support Wrexham. That's without a given. But yeah,
I was about to say.
I mean, come on now. We
all support Rising and Wrexham.
We all support Rising.
So
and
at the
Wrexham.
end of the day, we're family.
The two clubs that have our hearts. And we've seen within those different experiences. I don't like to say the word scenes and use that as a noun per se lightly, but that's what that was when we Reese and I were in the South End, and that was insane. That was absolutely insane. Just the way in which the game was going on. You're down a man, then 5 minutes later you're scoring, and you see the game out. And I think also it just adds so much significance of how this team has been trending this season. And just so much of the inconsistencies. You have a bit of that unbeaten streak, as we've said. You're then suffering a lot of losses. You're not scoring, for a good handful of matches in a row. And you just needed something. You didn't really know where it was going to come from. So I think that really just kind of encapsulated everything from Saturday. So I don't know, man. Listen, like, it's a long season, no matter how you look at things. Even when seasons are going well, even over the course of last season, Rising won it all. You can't tell me there wasn't points where it was definitely a long season. We remember living it. It's like, dude, there are some games where it's like, oh dear gosh, we are in for it. And even when a team does well, the construct of how USL is and operates, when you start preseason in February, and if you're in through playoffs, you're going through November, dude, that is like, there's no off season. There's no off season whatsoever. So it's going to be a long season nonetheless. And I think you have to be able to remember, enjoy the little moments like that, because the ones that happen on Saturday, you just don't get that all the time, and that's just a hell of a script. It was a fun one, regardless of where this team goes, regardless of what happens next. It was just a fun match to be a part of. And, you're kind of looking, right? It's the eye test. It was a good time. Rising was dominant. It's decently backed up by kind of the attacking stats that Rising showed, right? Kind of looking at things from that bigger point of view. Phoenix Rising, they dominated in the statistical categories where it counted. 1.22 XG for Phoenix Rising, 0.91 for Orange County. Shots on target, again, 5 for Phoenix Rising, 1 for Orange County. And the shots, relatively similar there, but again, it's where they made their chances. 9 chances created for Phoenix Rising, 6 chances created for Orange County. Field tilt was actually pretty much 50-50, and that's kind of where we ended from the overall attacking sense. But I think the cool thing, and again, shout out to Reese for digging these up, is kind of want to look at the passing sequences for these 2 goals, because I think the thing with Phoenix Rising is where we've really criticized them a lot throughout this season is they have not been able to really build up and sustain play really when it's counted. A lot of it's kind of been, you've seen some like, I'm not going to even say scoring off corners because right, they don't really like to score off the set piece. But you kind of seen some broken down corners. You see a little bit of kind of not against the run of play, but just kind of some stuff where can they get the job done when they're building up around the 18, right? And I think that's where in the final third, you kind of see some of these wayward crosses. You kind of see some of this possession that just hasn't been, sustainable. And you look at how these goals broke down, it's pretty darn good, man. We got the first one, kind of this passing sequence into play. Reese, you dug these up. Remind me, how many passes is that? I'm kind of looking at the screen. It was in the neighborhood of what, 21 or so?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, we'd say about 21 passes.
It is 21.
Thank you, Damon Dog, for confirming with my 2020 vision failing me a bit. But hey, you're kind of looking at that passing sequence on screen. We'll keep it up here for a hot second. Man, you see where it starts. You're seeing that starts all the way in midfield, and then just getting pinged around and all of that stuff. And yes, it eventually ends in a Gabby Torres and Dariusz Formella kind of sequence. But this is the thing where Rising is typically done, and this is how they like to build their game plan, right? They like to sway this thing side to side. You see where the buildup starts, right? The blue 15, this is where everything starts. It's a dispossession from Orange County. And all of the buildup, it's down that right-hand side and then pings its way over, across the center, into the midfield. And then it finally starts getting circulated slowly but surely into that midfield area. But the thing about Rising is they just haven't been able to get those little passes done within the final third. And you notice, it's not a lot of these long crosses. It's not these passes where it's like, splitting multiple defenders. But this team doesn't necessarily need to do that. They need to be more clinical in the final third, which is exactly what you saw there. You saw a bit of that interplay, right? With Gabby Torres, little Renzo Zambrano mixed in there, and just being able to find those passing combinations. And again, Dariusz Formella's goal, it was well worked. He made a late arriving run himself. But that's just where you're able to do those things, right? And that first goal, it was a perfect sequence of it. But I will say, a goal that didn't come off, or ended in a shot blocked for the keeper, is right. Even the other shot that Dariusz Formella had in the first half, where you have a beautiful long ball by Mo Traore, just on an absolute dime, and that's one where this team can give you a bit of a varied attack, right? So again, the two ways, as we've seen from match to match, this team will try to exploit the defense and try to break them down. It's either with those side to sides and hoping that they can lull them to sleep through a nice little through ball, or it is the long ball over the top that you have seen from time to time. We don't often see a lot of that concentrated build-up play in the final third in that 18, and that's exactly what we saw. You kind of look at the second goal as well. Kind of reiterates, again, just a little bit of a different flavor that Rising has. Again, it's a lot of this buildup. It's a dispossession within their own defensive third. It's kind of building up within that play. This is a 12 passing sequence, right? And again, it's through the back. It is through the back, and there's just a couple passes, right? Juan Carlos Azacar gets on his horse coming in as a sub, and you're able to get another beautiful ball in from Mo Traore, a little cross pass switch into Juan Carlos Azacar, takes a little bit of dribble, draws the defense in, and then a cutback. It's a Dariusz Formella. I believe that was another one-time finish. Again, I think that this is a great recipe for this club, is you're able to drive in, from those kind of wing flanker positions, driving towards the baseline, and then, or excuse me, touchline. Dear gosh, wow. Touchline, and yeah, getting a shaking head with that one. That's fair. Getting a little, driving in down towards the touchline, and then you're able to cut the ball back. I think so often that what we've seen is this club just wants to make sometimes the tougher pass than needed. I mean, goodness, how many times have we seen that it's just these crosses going nowhere? I mean, right, goodness, Reese, I think we've had you pull sometimes crossing completion rate and everything like that, and it's pretty dire sometimes. It's yeah. Stat like Reese has pulled some 10% matches, and there have been times where it's not for a lack of trying. Like, there are multiple crosses. I'm pretty sure you've gotten into like the 20, 25 plus marks on multiple occasions this season, and it's just not at a high clip. And to reiterate that, again, Reese, we had him pull it for this one. There were 12 crosses completed. So again, a little bit less than what the normal frequency is. 4 out of 12 crosses were completed. That's 33%. That's the highest completion success rate for Rising all season for crosses. So again, they have wingers who are able to beat their man down the pitch. They're able to kind of go down the sideline and really make that difference. They have the speed there. The issue is the final ball delivery. It just continues to not be there. But that's because it's a lot of these aerial crosses where they have had success. Is again, it is the Dariusz Formella with the late arriving run. It is Remy Cabral finding feet and his late arriving runs / just being able to have that striker's mentality, that one-touch finish. That's where this team can lull defenses to sleep. It's being able to say, look at me, I'm a winger, I'm one of those wing backs. I'm a guy, whether it is Power Rito, whether it is a Juan Carlos Azakar, whether it is Gallardo, whoever is playing in that position. If it's Panos even dribbling down there, is whoever it is. All eyes on me, all the attention goes. And then it's just a simple, it's a 6-yard ball, it's a 10-yard ball, it's a 15-yard pass on the ground, 2 feet to a late arriving run. That is so hard to defend. That is an absolutely difficult ball to defend because none of the defense is eyes on them. It's much harder to track a runner when he's 30, 20 yards from goal before he even starts the run. And then you look up those late arriving runs, you time it well, that's going to be on there every time. So that's really something where I want to see this team see a little bit more of that. It's something where it just builds consistency. And this is, what I'm saying here. This isn't anything that's, this is what you're taught from an early age of just making your runs, timing the right way. It does take cohesion. It does take a lot of team chemistry. It's not going to happen overnight. But the more we can see those types of plays and the less of relying on these balls, over the top or these crosses that like you can see from match to match, they are trying it, whether it's, seeing Reese, again, the stat in the chat, 1 out of 24 crosses completed versus New Mexico. That's horrible. That's not for a lack of trying. They've trying too much. The balls being served in for these crosses are not coming off for this team. They didn't come off last year, and they're not coming off this year. Find a different way to do it. And again, I think that the match against Orange County on Saturday can be a bit of a blueprint. It's just whether or not this team wants to kind of go down that route. They have playmakers in those positions. They have guys who can draw attention. Like, think about it. You have, again, the wingbacks that we mentioned. You have a Panos when Dariusz is playing in those pseudo number 10 positions. Even Fede, in his cameos, he's able to attract a lot of attention. They have guys who are able to work it. So just utilize the right half spaces. Like, the half spaces for this team is going to be so key. I just hope they go about it, man. That's the biggest thing that I think we scratch our heads at because there's been such a lack of offense, but it's because they're not getting in the right positions. And when we say not in the right positions, it's not like they're not getting in the final third. It's that we have had matches like we did against Vegas where the ball doesn't even enter the 18-yard box or even make contact with someone in there for the entirety of a second half because the wrong final balls are being played. When you're able to get into those positions, it's what you do with it at feet. Let's see if Phoenix Rising can do it. I can say what I'm going to do when I'm in those positions, when I'm kind of close to home, about to drive my way home, maybe put some points on the board, as I say, head on down to Circle K. Circle K, they're going to get me there as Damon nods on, right? Circle K, they have everything you need, right? Again, their inner circle program. How many times have I told you guys about this?
I'm at Circle K. I practically live at Circle K.
I think you're at Circle K right now.
I mean, basically, Studio K.
It's right there. It's right there behind me, right? Circle K. They got all the different types of stuff. They got the gummy bears. They have Hold on, here we go. Just gonna make a mockery, a littering smorgasbord. Cheese and caramel. It's probably horrible audio. The sea salt roasted peanuts.
No, it's ASMR.
You know, and the meat stick here. I'm just gonna put that down there. Circle K Inner Circle program. It is
more than anything. I think you're gonna make Jacob Franklin mad at you for trashing the studio.
I mean, first off, I'll pick it up. Second of all, ooh, I'm so scared of Jacob Franklin. Oh, yeah, I've said that before, and I'll say it again because I'm not. But hey, I'm not afraid of Circle K's, Polar Pop promo. That, honestly, actually, I am a little scared of their Polar Pop promo because just how darn good it is. I mean, what if I become 75% Polar Pop?
I was thinking more like, what if they go out of business because they're just like basically just giving out free drinks to people with how cheap it is.
Oh man. That's a risk. That's a risk we're willing to take because we just love Circle K and their Polar Pop. Damon Dog, that crazy guy. 79-cent Polar Pops. Again, if you're an Inner Circle member, which is a free program, all you need is just you download the Circle K app, put it in with your phone number. It's that easy. You get a 69-cent Polar Pop. You save 10 more cents. You buy 10 Polar Pops, you're an Inner Circle member, you save 10 cents per. What's 10 times 10, folks? That's 100 cents, $1. There you go. And you can then take that dollar and go buy some stuff at Circle K. Boom. Shout out Circle K Inner Circle program. Terms and conditions do apply at participating locations. Also pairs well with Circle K, a little OG's brands, if you will. OG's brands, oh me, oh my. OG's was humming after the game, right? That match on Saturday had a little bit of a OG's brands flavor. Because goodness gracious, it was just everywhere. It was just everywhere, man. Like, at times had a little bit of sativa, little kind of up-tempo passing, if you will, a little bit in the first half. Then really needed indica because the mood got brought down pretty darn loudly after OC scored. But then, what's that? A little happy balance came into play. Phoenix Rising, the down to 10 men, and then bing, bang, boom. They go back, they score, go up ahead for the go-ahead goal. Dariusz Formella crushing it. And that's what happens when you chill with our friends at OG's Brands. Got a little something for everyone. Again, the minis, the fruits, the creams, all of that great stuff. Head on over to ogsbrands.com to find them at a local dispensary near you. And of course, check them out at OG's Brands and follow them on all those socials. You must be 21 years or older to enjoy responsibly. All right. This is kind of an interesting one, right? So first off, again, good shout out on side like Reese for digging this up. Dariusz Formella, right? That's pretty crazy. And like, listen, David, I want to ask you. I mean, you're not a father per se, but if you were a father, coming back, coming.
I'm 24, Max.
Well, the age don't matter. But no, coming back into let's say. Your partner birthed a living human being, and then your first occupation back, your first you go back to work, and what do you do when you go back to work? You score 2 goals. You are the hero of the day in your first start. Maybe not your first action back, your first not day back on the job. Your first week back, you're kind of easing in, but like no, like your first start back, the first go time, you're leading things, 2 goals. And just 100% shot accuracy, right? What does that mean to you? How would you feel if you were in that situation?
Well, I mean, I feel like we see it in sports all the time, right? Like in the NFL, I feel like they always score touchdowns. Like you're supposed to take anytime touchdown scorer bets on guys who just had a kid. Like that's the name of the game. So yeah. I honestly wish I knew that he just gave birth to a child, or that he was, his wife did.
Yeah.
I would have bet on it this weekend. Anytime goal scorer. That's free money. Did he do like rock the baby celebration when he scored?
I did a little bit of the soccer. I think I saw someone
ball in
one
the
of his
stomach.
teammates. Yeah, one of his teammates soccer ball in the kid. It's a classic.
It is a classic.
It is a classic. It's the best one.
Suck the thumb,
dude. It's the best. Also, too, like when you think about it, realistically, like given the situation of like how the game kind of pauses when there's a goal and like the spherical shape of the ball. Soccer's really the only one where you can actually like do that. It doesn't really work in other sports. Like, am I missing one here?
I mean, you could probably make it work in football.
But like, it's not. But okay, yeah. But I'm talking about like
Stewie Griffin.
No. But I'm talking about like the ball inside the kit. It doesn't really work.
Yeah, your shirt's a little tighter.
And plus, you're gonna have an oblong. I believe that's the correct term. The oblong shaped ball inside of your jersey because
ovular.
Someone help us with the thesaurus here. Is it oblong? Is it ovular? What are we looking for football shape? Stewie Griffin shaped head? There's something in there.
I feel like football shaped is what you go with.
I guess so. But anyway, we digress from the point. Dariusz Formella, and not only that, he was also like traveling from this. That his first start back, 2 goals, 5 shots on target, 5 total shots. Again, 100% shot accuracy, 0.92 XG. Again, good for a solid goal. And that's the beautiful part is you break that down, it's essentially 0.5 XG or so per goal. They were relative prolate spheroid. Thank you, Statlacky slash I don't know what the word for someone who does shapes. But yeah, whatever that is. Shapeologist. Reese, you got to look that up too. But Dariusz Formella had a heck of a performance. He earned 67% of the Player of the Week vote. Again, there's a lot of fickleness, a fecality, if you will, within this.
That's not a word.
within this voting.
We've made up about 5 words.
I might have. There's a lot of fickleness within the league voting of. Right, guy scores a brace. I think it's just the way in which it was done as well. Right, you're going down a man. He sets a tone early on. You then go down a man and score the go-ahead goal. It's pretty impressive. I think too the other thing is just being out of rhythm. Like not only being out of rhythm, not playing for a full 90, right, for a good handful of matches, but also he hasn't featured in that number 9 position. Right, it's certainly not regularly. Remy Cabral is taking that position by storm. Again, we have said it like to a painstaking point on this podcast. Dariusz Formella can play the number 9 position, but we do not believe it's his best position because he is even more lethal in those off-ball movements. And again, what Jake and I were saying in Saturday's postgame is he was able to essentially play 2 positions. He was holding up the ball very well in that number 9 position, but he was also able to make those late arriving runs, to find space, to play off guys, to be that connector, to then pass the ball forward into the wings. He was doing everything. And I think what we have been saying, what I've said, what Jake has said, what Owen has said, what Reese has said, what we've all said both on this podcast and just in passing is, when can we see a game? A really like extended period where we have Remy Cabral, Dariusz Formella, Panos Amarnakas all together humming along with, in a relatively similar like space. That's exciting to me. That's really exciting. And that's what I think the next iteration could be within this attack of you have your point guy in that number 9 position in Remy Cabral. You have Dariusz Formella who can kind of do the same thing, but also he is that connector. And then you have Panos Amarnakas, who is the ultimate playmaker, right? You want to be able to see guys in those positions. Again, shout out Dariusz Formella, but I think that is another iteration for this club. But the real big thing is going to be, how do they get in the same position? Because there have been a lot of lineup changes. And again, shout out Mr. Statlacky Reese. He's done a doozy on this one. He has tracked the lineup changes and charted it for every single match this season, both overall and as well as breaking it down by the matches that include Open Cup matches and then ones that don't. But essentially, and Reese, please let me know on the side here if I'm misinterpreting this, but if you are talking about like overall, from all the matches that Rising has played, right, given the midweek matches for the Open Cup, there are approximately 4.2 changes between each lineup from match to match, okay? So, right, this is kind of equated overall through the season, right? For example, some match to match may be left unchanged. Other ones, you might have 3 changes. Next match, you might have 2 changes. But all that aggregately, the average per match based on the entire season, you're seeing 4.2 changes per match. And I'm even looking at this chart that he made, right? There are some matches, there's only been, 2 changes from match to match. Sometimes it's unchanged completely. But a lot of these matches, especially with the Open Cup, you're seeing a lot of turnover. Like we're talking 7-8 plus players. And, you're saying, hey, okay, the Open Cup, right? You're having to figure it out. Guys are being switched in different positions. You're maybe playing a weaker team because maybe you're either prioritizing the Open Cup or, as we've seen, you're prioritizing the weekend match. So like, okay, all well and good. What happens when you take away and excluding the U.S. Open Cup changes? If you take away the U.S. Open Cup matches and equating for those matches, 3.9 changes. Again, down from 4.2 to 3.9. You're essentially still at about 4 changes for every lineup. So what does that say? These changes are typically, right, Rocco's not getting changed out, and when healthy, Remy is usually in the starting number 9 position. However, we have seen that him and Formella have been the guys in that number 9 position. You have seen the midfield heavily rotated out. And outside of Stenberg, who has been a mainstay in pretty much most of these matches since he's been back, right? You've had Fuenmayor in there. You've had Wyke, kind of serving some time outside of the lineup. But it's been the midfield that has seen the far amount of turnover, right? One day it's Cuejo, then it's Varela, then Formella's in there, then it's Julio, then it's Jose Andres Hernandez. The only guy who's really been the mainstay for darn near every match is Renzo Zambrano. So that's kind of the one thing. It's going to be interesting to see where these lineups change. And then Reese did one even further. If you take out the Open Cup matches, as well as the 2 matches that were played within that short week. So, right, you have U.S. Open Cup match, first one against North Carolina. The next match they played against Detroit, okay? You take both the Open Cup match out and the Detroit match. Same thing for the next round. You take out the Seattle Open Cup match and you take out the Indy match that was that Saturday. So you essentially are saying we are not going to account for the Open Cup in any shape or form or the knock-on effects that it would have for the game that is played 3 days later. So you completely take out the 4 matches where the lineups would make sense that are going to be heavily rotated. You are still left with 2.7 changes per match. Again, you're talking about 3 guys being changed on average every single match throughout the season in the ones where you're essentially going with a full strength lineup, yes, barring injuries and stuff here and there. That is relative, I would say, right? Maybe the eye test, you could see around 2, maybe 3 in there. Again, it goes back to what that looks like in those key matches and who is getting out of the lineup, right? You have seen some guys who are always in the lineup and seemingly are like locks, right? It is Rocco. It is Cabral when he's healthy. It is John Stenberg. It's Motrari. It's Fuenmayor. And it's Renzo Zambrano. Everyone else, there is a lot of variability. The wingbacks, it's Gabby Torres, Powerito, it's Juan Carlos Azacar. It's very variable within there. In terms of the other guys in the midfield, sometimes you get a Jose Andres Hernandez. Sometimes you get a Julio. Sometimes you get Pano starting. Sometimes you get Fede Varela in that number 10 position. Sometimes you get JP Sears in that position. There's so much variability within that kind of midfield and to an extended point, the wingbacks. That is really, really fascinating to me because there's always going to be some sort of rotation. You're trying to find the right guys. You want to make sure guys are fit and everything like that. But where do you actually get into a level of consistency? And I think that's been the most kind of startling part about this because, right, moving forward, there is no more Open Cup. You're going to be working with essentially your full strength lineup every time, given, injuries withstanding, but you're not going to have to budget for that extra game. So that's going to be fascinating to track. And then seeing Reese in the comments. Also, there's been only 2 matches where Rising left their lineup unchanged from the previous match. And that's exactly it. Again, this was against, I'm not going to say weaker opponents, but at the time, you would consider them maybe like, okay, here we go. It was going from Oakland on March 23rd and then going into the next week against March 30th against New Mexico, lineup unchanged. So back-to-back matches very early on in the season. And the second round of it, April 26th, the win against Rhode Island, it was then unchanged as well in the May 4th clash against Sacramento. So I think that's the most telling thing is, are we going to see more of those unchanged lineups? Because again, that was about a month plus between the last times that you saw, an unchanged lineup. So Reese is asking, so you want another lineup change? No, it's, I just want to see that this team, if you're going to make lineup changes, it's just trying to do it in a minimalized way as possible because I think there are times that this team is still trying to figure out the right pieces and where they're making the most impact. Is that fair to say? Would you say, Reese, that's a fair assessment of your report? I mean, Reese, in what you've seen, where would you say? I mean, right, the most of the turnover, it tends to be in the midfield.
Yeah, plus like Gallardo and
Gallardo, Varela swapping out, absolutely. Who would you like to see in terms of in terms of like getting consistency within some of those roles.
Like Gallardo.
Yeah,
That one.
they're making Devin happy. Gallardo,
Yeah.
little Gallardo shout. Okay.
Gabby Torres.
Yeah, Gabby Torres. You actually do have a stat on Gabby Torres, don't you?
Yeah, picked up his 3rd assist yesterday or on the weekend.
3rd assist, and does that lead the team?
Yeah.
Yes, it does. Gabby Torres now leads the team with 3 assists. Pretty darn cool. Again, I think the other thing is where you see the knock-on effect of this is a lot of these substitutions and everything, right? Understandably, they're taking place in the second half. Tends to be around that anywhere from 60 to 75th minute mark. Again, it's where you make a lot of these substitutions. But I think is so much of this is it's a lot of just inconsistency, guys who aren't always playing together. This is now 2 straight matches where the first shot in the second half has not come until the 67th minute. Again, one more time. This is now 2 straight matches where the first shot in the second half has not happened until the 67th minute. For those of you mathematicians as well, like myself, 22 minutes, not a shot, to lead in the second half. Again, this is in these matches where Rising has some momentum. Where Rising has some momentum. Yes, the Vegas is a different story. That was an absolutely ugly match, but the first half was better than the second half. So like you're thinking, boom, you get into halftime. There is maybe some sort of momentum in this past match against Orange County. You have a goal to hang your hat on. You're able to press up. You're able to keep the team kind of bunker down. And the fact that you then go 20 minutes plus in 2 matches in a row without a shot in that second half for that long, it's worrying. So I'm curious how much all this is correlated with the lineup changes, all of that stuff, but we will have to see. What I can see for sure is our friends at Four Peaks. That's a darn good beer. That's a darn good beer with our friends at Four Peaks Brewing. Boom. They got that Bad Birdie Juicy Golden Ale. You can see it on screen. If you're listening on audio, you already know what it sounds like. It's just cracking that Cool King. There we go. It sounds way better than that. Check out Four Peaks, right? They have just the delicious, delicious stuff. They have the kilts, the hop knots, the hazies, the wows, even the nice little tee shot, right? For those of you golf enthusiasts, they have something for everyone. Check them out at Four Peaks Pub and at Four Peaks Brew on the socials. And of course, check out their 8th Street Pub because we have a fun announcement very soon. I think we should be able to break it by Thursday. Just some Copa action, certain places to watch it. I'm just gonna throw it out there, a little teaser, if you will. But yeah, shout out Four Peaks and their 8th Street Pub. And of course, you must be 21 years or older to enjoy delicious Four Peaks. Of course, one way to enjoy Four Peaks is to enjoy them other locations as well. Check them out at Valley Taproom. Valley Taproom, they have Four Peaks, right? They have all the delicious Four Peaks. They have the wine slushies, everything like that. Nice, fun ways to enjoy a good, nice, cold brew. It's on the east side for those of you who are in the Gilbert and Queen Creek areas. We are going to be working with them as well on some maybe some Euros action, so to speak. So keep on the lookout for that at PHNX__rising. But of course, you can follow them at Valley Taproom. You can find them online at valleytaproom.com. Check out their locations. We're also planning some larger PHNX events there. Donald over there, he's a good guy. Has some great specials going on. It's just a fun environment. It's really laid back. It's casual. It's a great place to post up for a couple hours, watch some games, play some trivia, all that good stuff. Check out our friends at Valley Taproom. Again, 2 locations, Gilbert and now Queen Creek open. Alrighty. So we covered a bit of this match, and I know Thursday it's going to get into a little bit more of just the upcoming matches and where did this season go from here. But we got some fun stuff, right? We got some fun stuff. First, leading up, and this might be the bigger, some pretty big news from the soccer scene. And, gentlemen, we all support various clubs here within the Prem, right? As I've already mentioned, we're Phoenix Rising fans. We're Wrexham fans, of course. And we might have our differences when it comes to the Premier League, right? I'm a Spurs fan. Reese is an Arsenal fan. And, of course...
Some of us have seen it all.
Some of us have seen it all.
That's the difference. I agree that we are different.
Little Chelsea fan. But what I'm trying to say is, there's a little news going around. I don't know if there's any Man U fans in the chat. I'm certainly not seeing a little Mikey in the chat. But what do we think about, Erik ten Hag coming back to Man U?
Thank God.
Yes, we like that. We like that. We like him coming back to Man U. See MB Breeze in the chat. He's sending his thoughts. Damon, what do we think of Erik ten Hag coming back?
I mean, I don't think their league position is going to benefit much from it. He's obviously done pretty well in cup competitions in the last 2 seasons. So who knows? Maybe they'll challenge for another Carabao or FA Cup. But I don't see them being a very good team throughout the season. I think they were also maybe the luckiest team in the league throughout most of the season. Their injuries were unlucky at the end, but their XG throughout the year, they were overperforming it like crazy. Their goal difference, they had a negative goal difference and were in 5th place for most of the season. So I could definitely see them being pretty bad next year.
Okay. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think it's just it's I guess the timeline is kind of odd of back in the chest. Great news for every other club. That pretty much sums it up.
The
6
thing
free
is, though,
points.
I think that if they made a change, they were going to try to get Southgate. And
wait, I never saw that rumor.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that was going to be their main target. So
that's crazy.
If that's the case, what's even worse?
What is worse? Oh gosh, that's a tough one. I mean, you essentially
Maguire in.
Maguire in. I mean, the logic of that, the logic of that is actually kind of crazy when you think about it. Is Man U. Their table position has only deteriorated, and yet they have been winning the club competitions, albeit, yes, at maybe not the elite levels, to say for sure, but they've been doing that. And then you would want to replace him with Gareth Southgate, who, last I checked, he does even worse in knockout competitions. So that doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah, Man U, it's a good time to not be a Man U fan, and we'll see. I mean, I think it's just the wild timing of, why make this decision so late? I figure you're putting him in a weird lame duck kind of situation of either let him go immediately after that FA win or just be okay, cool, we're signing you on. This they missed out on so many other candidates, and I think so many of them were turned off by kind of this limbo situation. But that's how Man U operates. Let's see. Yes, Albert in the chat. Southgate and Man U talk about a combo that is even less than the sum of its parts. That's a fantastic way to sum it up. A crew that is not less the sum of their parts, that they are doing well. We do have to shout out our Welsh friends who are traveling. Again, the Welsh friends, not the Wales national team. We'll make that very clear. It was a horrible week for you guys. That's brutal. Gibraltar. And what was the other one?
4-0 loss. I can't remember.
Oh dear gosh. I mean, oh goodness.
Slovakia 4-0.
Gibraltar and Slovakia. Oh boy. Well,
I hate to see that.
I'm waiting for Owen to just pop in the chat. He's gonna manifest or StreamYard in or something.
You know what we were talking about, Max? That would have saved the day.
See, I was getting to this. We talking about a little.
I mean,
it makes sense
if they could just find a way to get some more Wrexham players in 11.
That's it.
There's no chance those results are going down that way. What do you think, Reese?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
All I know is that we got to, as us at Wrexham, keep continuing to grow and get bigger as a club.
Yeah.
We got to keep fostering these Welsh talents in and out of the club so we can make this national team something that's worth fighting for.
Oh. Man,
fight for the badge, boys.
Fight for the badge. Do you want to?
Too many Cardiff players and Swansea players, man.
You want to see that homegrown talent, man? Come on through. Well, sorry you guys had a rough going on the pitch, but it did have fun travels. If we can show up that graphic one more time, right? And little action there. Boom, clocked up a crazy 14,912 miles, almost 15,000 miles following Wales away over the past 8 days. Had a great time despite the mediocrity of the games. I mean, that's pretty darn cool. We see some familiar faces in there.
I'm going to need to know their flag person.
I know, right?
For reasons.
Reasons.
Undisclosed reasons.
Undisclosed reasons, yes. No, it's that's just so awesome. I mean, classic Owen giving us the play-by-play of Rob Page out, and just the abysmal. Well, he was obviously no free ads, but he was also asking us about how good is this Slovakian Mexican food and the kebab and just all these random things at like 4 a.m. I'm like, oh boy, it's a time. So, man, yes, Reese, Wrexham rising flag when again, undisclosed reasons. We're not going to say that's related to it. No,
top secret.
Top secret. Don't worry about it. Hush, hush.
That may or may not be exactly what I was thinking.
You'll never know until you know. But no, that's cool. We're gonna be excited to have Owen back. Lest he's pretty good with the technology, and your boy maybe not as much. Oh man, but we prosper onwards on the PHNX Rising podcast. I mean, gentlemen, that's pretty much all I got for the day. Is there anything else you guys have? Anything we missed? Okay, we love it. Appreciate everyone joining us here on the PHNX Rising podcast. Of course, make sure you follow us at PHNX __rising, because double the underscore.
Double the Wrexham flags.
Double the Wrexham flags. Let's go. You can follow me on Twitter at Max David Simpson. You can follow Stat Like Your Reese at Reese11 _. Of course, you can, leave a like. What a picture. You can follow Damon Dog on Twitter at Damon DAWG. You can follow Owen on Twitter at OJ Evans 18. We'll make his sound like a sad dog. Let's see. You can follow Jacob Franklin. You can follow him on a social platform. Take your pick. He's in there somewhere. Google him. He's the tall guy with maybe holding a baby, maybe not.
Do you know his at?
Of course, I know his ad. I just don't need to justify it by saying that. Yeah.
So why even bring him up?
I mean, you're right. You can follow. I was gonna say something, but no, that's gonna put me in hot water with Sid. So I'm not gonna say that. Yeah, there we go. But no, appreciate everyone joining us. We're back on Thursday per usual. Owen back in studio, and it's a beautiful game, but it's way more beautiful when Phoenix Rising, they take those 3 points and we get to have a fun show of shenanigans rather than a Debbie Downer episode. Good night, everyone.
We all silly like the mayor.